Hi everybody, welcome to Supercross Live, the official pre-show fueled by Monster Energy. Kevin Barnett, Jim Holley, round 9 here in St. Louis. And Jim, it's going to be another great day of racing. Let's talk about the Supercross Lights class. 2 races into the Supercross Lights East Regional, and it's all about Justin Barcia.
Well, and Justin Barcia's got something to do here tonight, and I'm going to say number 3. He's won here the past 2 years, so if he wins here tonight, he's got 3 wins in the last 3 years here, and if he wins also, he's got 3 on the season already. And they need to stop Barcia. I mean, he's just going out there and he's dominating, but he's putting himself in good positions, although the heat races have been a little bit hard for him in the past
yeah, down a couple of times last week in the first heat race. Is there anything else different you see about Barcia? Is he being easier on the other riders?
Oh, I think he is. I mean, I think he's matured, and like we've talked about before, anytime you have that number 1 plate, and you know, he's working with Jeff Stanton, and Jeff Stanton's always been calm, cool, and collective. I think that's why Honda said, you know, why don't you get with Jeff and maybe he can calm you down a little bit. But no, I don't see him over-revving the bike a lot anymore. I see a different Justin Barcia this year.
A lot of talk about the East versus West, which is more challenging, who should ride where. When you talk about the East right now, there are 5 riders within 1 second, and the Pro Circuit boys are in that group.
They are, and something that Mitch Payton wants those guys to do is win. I mean, you got to go to the opener. Darren Durham put in a great ride, finishing up second. Then his teammate last weekend, Blake Baggett, finished up second.
Yeah.
Durham, although consistent last week, finished up with that 5th. But they need some wins over there, and I think that maybe tonight here in St. Louis could be the night.
The 5th guy in that group on the Rockstar Suzuki, Blake Wharton, what does he need to do to get a podium? He has a couple of 4ths.
Well, I think that, you know, coming off injury, you got to remember that this guy hasn't raced in a long time, and I think he's still trying to race himself into shape. He's getting good starts in the heat races and things like that, but I think that he needs to get a good start and just try to run up there and see exactly what their pace is. He knows he can do it. He's done it before. He's won races in the lights before, but you know, there again, he's working with a new team and maybe still getting acclimated to that bike.
Moving over to the Supercross class, a week ago all the talk was about Chad Reed going down and Ryan Villapoto running away with it. Well, Ryan Dungey showed us otherwise.
He did, and he showed us why Roger DeCoster pays all the money to Ryan Dungey there, and you know, said, why don't you come over to KTM? 2 wins already. You know, this is round 9. He wins round 2 and round 8. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, who would have thought that KTM this year would have won 2 Supercrosses already? But Roger DeCoster knew, and that's why he hired Ryan Dungey. I look for you know, Dungey tonight here. He's got to try to keep you know, working and getting good starts. If you notice, last weekend he got a good start. The other times when he's buried in the mid-pack, he can only muster up a 4th, possibly a 3rd, you know. So it's going to take a good start here tonight in St. Louis. It's
been all about the Ryans up front, but the 3rd place man, James Stewart, is now falling a little bit further behind in points. Is this a must-win situation for Stewart?
I think it is. I mean, we talked about it was a must-win for him last week too. Yeah. But you know, I think that you know, coming into this event, James Stewart won here last year. Dungey won here in 2010. Reed won here in 09. Kevin Windham in 08, and RC in 07. So we've had 5 different winners here in St. Louis. Who knows? Maybe a Cole Seeley might win tonight. He was looking good last week. Led it for about 7 laps there. But James Stewart definitely. You know, I think that he's got to get the starts. I mean, we haven't seen James Stewart get a good start, and when we do see him get a good start, and he doesn't make any mistakes, like in Oakland, he ends up winning them.
You mentioned Team Honda Muscle Milk's Cole Seeley had a great ride, but also Justin Brayton, who everyone had big expectations for early in the season, had a good finish in there at 5th, and Davey Millsaps at 4th. What do either one of those 2 guys need to do to get themselves on the podium?
Well, it's interesting you talked about Justin Brayton. We talked about him. He had that one, you know, didn't even get any points in Dodger Stadium, didn't make it to the main event. And if you add, just say, yeah, give him 16 points or whatever, he's right in there in 4th and 5th in the championship fight. But Brayton needs to get a good start like Cole Seeley did and run up there and show those guys what he's made of. And he can do it, and he's battled back from a lot of injuries. I mean, you got to remember that San Diego was a heck of a crash he had there in practice, and to come back in Atlanta and ride and do pretty well. And then last weekend with that 5th was a great ride. But him and you mentioned Davey Millsaps. Davey Millsaps, I think Atlanta a little close to home. I know his mom and dad were there. That's always good to have your parents in the crowd watching you. But Davey rode really well last weekend, and he's just got to continue that here, and it starts with a start.
You mentioned the insanity of St. Louis. The Travis Pastrana track a few years ago is what I think of. What are your first impressions of some of the elements you see out here?
Well, St. Louis has always got great dirt. I mean, this is one of those facilities when you go on the track, you walk the track, and all the guys are going, man, I'm loving this soil. You know, it doesn't get too ruddy, it doesn't dry out. It should be great racing. I like the over and under bridge. That's always adds an element to it, but it's going to be great racing. And you know, the Dirtworks guys and and Feld Motorsports, they've done a great job with designing this track here in St. Louis tonight.
All right, a couple of other notes out there. Marvin Musquin supposed to be out there on the 350 in the Supercross class for the first time, and Kyle Peters supposed to make his debut in the Supercross lights. If you want to connect with us during the week, during the race day, anytime, facebook.com/supercrosslive and twitter.com/supercrosslive. Tell us who you think is going to step up on the box this week and who's going to get the win. For Jim, I'm Kevin. Going to be a great race day here in St. Louis.